And let's start our conversation about AI and SEO. So, we've got two fantastic experts with us today who are going to share their insights based on their own experience. So, first, we have Naomi Roszhart. Naomi Roszhart is a supply chain e commerce expert within the FedEx Global Customer Solutions or GCS team. Working directly with FedEx customers in sales, she provides solution design and implementation expertise, working to leverage emerging technologies that improve automation, personalization, and operational efficiency for e commerce businesses. Naomi brings over a decade of experience helping businesses grow online. And since joining FedEx, she has supported e commerce customers of all sizes with creative, data driven strategies to drive engagement and sales. As an early adopter of AI, Naomi has helped small business owners enhance their digital presence by leveraging effective prompt strategies and tool alignment. It's great to have you here, Naomi.
Thanks, Brittany. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Wonderful. And next we have Jam Anderson. Jam Anderson is the driving force behind Jam AI, dedicated to making AI easy and accessible for everyone. With 20 years of success in traditional marketing, she quickly recognized the power of AI and jumped right in. Now, Jam is all about turning AI complexity into clarity, helping business leaders, entrepreneurs, and marketing pros harness AI without the hassle. Known for her ability to simplify even the most complicated concepts, she's the expert you need to guide you through the AI landscape so you can focus on what you love. She obviously used AI, her AI assistant, to help her write this. Hope you liked it. It's so good to have you here, Jam.
Thanks for having me, Brittany, and thanks to FedEx for having us today as well. This is going to be an amazing conversation.
Yes, it's going to be so good. And I do want to point out that we are going to drop some ways that you can stay in touch with Naomi and Jam in the chat. So, um, Jam, I do want to start with you. We're going to jump right into these questions. We're hearing so much about AI changing how people search. From your perspective, how is it showing up in tools like ChatGPT or Google's new AI search results? And what is driving the change?
Yeah, well, obviously, this new technology, AI, has completely taken over how we work, and now we're talking about kind of how we live. And so we're no longer looking for direct links, right? When we go and search, we're demanding direct answers. So when I was out yesterday, for instance, I was at an event and very hungry after, and I had to search, lunch restaurants near the Denver Art Museum. And Google was so rude. It brought up first a bunch of links with, articles that I would have to read. Nobody has time for that. So I skipped all that, went right down to the AI search, and right there it had five or six options for me, and I jumped right in. So I'm not alone. Over 60% of US searches are now using AI summaries. And that's because we have billions of people using ChatGPT every day. So people are no longer just going to Google and typing in their search. They are going to these LLMs and looking for real communication and answers. So yeah, I think that's it. Like we are in a stage where we're demanding a lot of conversation rather than direct links.
Yes, that's such a good point, and it shows
Yeah.
how quickly people change the way that they search in general. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Okay, my next question is for Naomi. So, from your work with small business owners, what are you noticing about how customers are shopping or discovering products differently because of these AI-powered search tools?
That's a great question. Honestly, a lot of what we're seeing is that AI-powered search has completely changed where the shopping journey begins. So people aren't just going to Google or jumping straight into Amazon or Etsy the way that they used to. Now they're using all kinds of tools that have AI baked in, even behind the scenes. So that could be a tool like ChatGPT, like Jam mentioned, or Perplexity, the search bar in TikTok or Instagram, or even the search inside the marketplaces that they already shop on. All of those actually incorporate AI tools to help people find what they're looking for. So the biggest shift that we're seeing is this. Customers aren't really typing in exactly what they're looking for. Now they're describing the situation and the problem that they're trying to solve. So they're talking about what scenario they're in. They expect the tool to figure out what products fit. So here's what that shift looks like in real life. So for this example, I have a traditional long tail keyword, what that looks like here. And that's what people used to be looking for. So best robot vacuum for me, what works? But now with AI, it's a little more intentional. We're looking at what problem are they trying to solve. So for this, it might be how well do robot vacuums avoid pet beds? Just trying to see, will it work in my space? Now, these searches tell you exactly what customers care about. It also tells the AI tool what problem they want solved. And when your product description matches more of those concerns, you have a much higher likelihood of showing up more often for those searches too. And now they're also shopping for moments, not single items. So again, they're looking for something to solve their problem. Like for instance, for apparel, they might be looking for a black denim jacket. But now they would have looked for that in the past. Now they might be saying something like black jacket I can wear with dresses to a casual concert. There's a whole lot more context clues. And there's ways that you can optimize for that as well. But people are looking for fast trust and they expect tools to do the summaries for them. So they almost just word vomit everything that they're thinking and they expect the tools to make sense of it. And even social search is influenced by intent. So like we mentioned with Instagram or TikTok, they also look at the intent behind it. So in the past, people might search for highly specific phrases like Dyson Airwrap, but now they might look for Dyson Airwrap on curly hair and more specific things. And those tools understand the intent and what people are looking for behind them. So along the way, the pattern is the same. AI is showing people many tools they're already using, but when customers are describing their problem, it's helping match them with the solution they need instead of just spitting out more for them. Back to you.
Yeah, that's such a great point in seeing how people are looking for like all of these different things. And they're, like you said, they're just searching for what they need or the situation instead of those keywords. So, Jam, my next question is for you. So, how do AI-driven search results affect small business visibility online? For example, if a business used to rank well on Google, what's changing now?
Yeah, so this is a big one. So click-through rate for organic results has dropped by 61% when an AI overview appears. Because, like we said, we're in this zero-click era. So users want to get answers without visiting the website. So they're getting the answer without going to the website. So that means that paid ads are also seeing a huge drop in effectiveness. So that old strategy of simply ranking number one for a keyword is becoming less and less effective. But brands cited with AI overviews, they see a huge benefit. So cited brands are seeing 35% more organic clicks and 91% more paid clicks. So the goal isn't really just traffic volume, it's all about becoming that trusted source that AI, LLMs, large language models, are choosing to quote. So that's becoming the really big question, right? Like, how can you get LLMs to talk about your business or your product? And I think it's a really large conversation. But one thing that I want people to understand is that the the old SEO world is still holding very true, and content is still so important. And like Naomi was just showing with those long tail keywords, you have to go back to understanding your ideal client profile and become an expert on what those ideal client profiles, your ideal client prospects, might be searching and prompting in the LLMs. And that will help you create content on your website that then the LLMs can source and bring up when people are searching. So you want to create a really concrete content plan that will answer prompts from your ICP. But yeah, overall, this is having a huge impact on search results, especially for small businesses.
Yeah, these stats are wild. And when you say
Mhm.
ICP, you mean is it the ideal client profile?
Yes, yes. Sorry, my acronyms here. ICP, Ideal Client Profile, and LLM is a large language model such as ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. So sorry about that.
No, thank you so much. There's so
Yeah,
many acronyms. I just want to stay on top of
yeah.
it as well. Okay, Naomi, my next question is for you. Um, FedEx works with thousands of e-commerce sellers. So, what are some ways these businesses can prepare for how buyers are discovering products now?
That's one of my favorite questions because I get to talk about that a lot. But one of the most impactful things that small businesses can do right now is making sure that they're actually findable within AI. So customers, like we mentioned, are finding products a whole new way. And most sellers don't even realize how much of that discovery happens before the shopper ever reaches a website or a marketplace. And what that looks like in practice, they expect AI tools to do the work of identifying products for them, like we talked about. And one potential solution that you guys can do is even submitting your website to ChatGPT just to help make sure that that's showing up in searches. So if you go to chatgpt.com/merchants, like you can see on the snapshot over here, you can even submit your website, much like when you ask Google to index it or crawl it, to make sure that you're working with them and your products are showing up there too. There's also a couple different AI partnerships with major platforms, and those are already influencing who gets discovered. So, for example, ChatGPT has been working with Shopify, and they've also started working with Etsy. And they've really been promoting listings within both of those platforms. So, this means stores on those platforms have an advantage because their products are surfaced more quickly. And again, that's right now. There's always new partnerships coming up. So, it's helpful to stay abreast with that and see what's happening. But your product content needs to reflect how customers actually talk, and specs and features aren't enough anymore. AI models prioritize language that reflects real customer needs, and that includes the reasons why people buy the product, how they use it, and what problem it solves. If you want to jump to the next slide, I have an example here.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. So this is a product page example. It's pretty vague, but you can see what it might look like in the past. Just an overview, a title, a description, really basic specs. But now, with more of the AI optimized version, we incorporate a little bit more there. So you can see the use cases. What are the benefits? A bigger battery, but for what? Noise canceling, but why? What kind of situations is this good in? Again, our goal is to connect with our customers better, get inside their brains a little bit more, and know what their actual fears, the emotional problems they're trying to work through, and what this product solves. And your goal is to incorporate that even on the product page, and AI can work from there too. Now, one things that I've loved that small businesses can do even better than the larger brands is turn around fast. So small businesses can make quick decisions and turn around with the age of AI too. So let's say there's a new update. You guys can be aware of it and change a product description much quicker than someone that has a lot of circles to go through. The common thread is simple. AI needs clear information in order to recommend to you. The better you get that, the easier it can pick up your product. And if your content speaks directly to the customers and their needs, AI can pick up on that. That's it.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And I love how you highlighted that, small businesses, they do actually have an edge here, which is that they can go quicker and move through those updates if they know what they are. So this is incredibly helpful. Jim, my next question is for you. So for small business owners who feel intimidated by AI, there's just a lot there. What are some simple and practical ways they can start using AI tools to improve that visibility or marketing?
Yeah, great question. And I'm very familiar with the small business owner who's intimidated by AI. That's who I surround myself with every day. And I definitely feel it, guys. I know there's a lot of new AI tools being introduced all the time, and it can be so overwhelming. So here's what I want you to do. If you haven't been using AI yet, I first want you to know that yes, you have. AI is inside so much of our daily life interaction from Alexa and Siri. I have to whisper that or else my phone will talk. To your Netflix, when you're recommended a show or movie to watch, that's all AI. So, first of all, get over that fear of new technology because it's not that new. You've been using it, and we have to start creating content. That's all this is. It's general SEO practices, but we have to expand what we call our digital footprint. So, making sure that we're creating all types of content to answer those questions of people who are looking for our product or services in these LLMs. So, if you haven't used an AI tool yet, I put three at the bottom here. ChatGPT, there's over a billion users, or there's a billion prompts going in per day. So join in, everyone's using it. Uh, I also put in Gemini, which is Google's LLM. And to be honest, it is my favorite now. And if you're just starting out, I highly recommend starting out with Google's Gemini because they have done an amazing job of creating this AI experience where you're not only using large language model Gemini to create content, but they have so many other tools that interact with it where you can create videos, podcasts, infographics, websites, apps, all just with one simple prompt. So it's a really amazing suite of AI tools that is free, first of all. I know small business owners like us, we love free and easy to use. The last one I recommend is another LLM called Claude, and it's built by a company called Anthropic. And I really love it for content creation because it does a really good job being trained. So you can personalize it and customize it and really train it better than any of the other LLMs. And I really like the company Anthropic who created it because it's their mission to create AI that writes content that's non-biased and sounds more human-like than the others. So yeah, you don't need to be a tech expert, but we do have to start creating content to show up in these LLMs. So I suggest those three tools. And then I also gave you this AI audit prompt, which I know is super long. You can screenshot it actually and download it, or we'll get it to you somehow, maybe in the follow-up emails. But all you do is you fill out those brackets there with your own information of your business, your domain, who you serve, and you put this entire prompt into one of those tools I just showed you. So ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, and it will give you this incredible AI overview. My background is in marketing, and we used to spend months and charge thousands of dollars for the types of information that this prompt will give you. So I think those few things are a great place to start.
Yes, this is awesome. And we will make sure that, this is in the follow-up resources. So don't worry if you
Yeah.
didn't get a screenshot, you'll get it in the follow-up. But I really love how you broke this down because I do feel like with AI, there are so many tools and resources. So kind of narrowing it down to those three, like you said, starting and just getting good at it, is
Yeah.
so helpful. Okay, Naomi, my next question is for you. So, how can small businesses use data and AI-driven insights to understand where their customers are finding them online, and then use that information to, hopefully strengthen their visibility?
That's a great question for small business owners because that's exactly what they need to be focusing on. There's data everywhere that you look, and how can you connect with your customers is a great question. So there's a handful of tools that are available that'll help give you almost everything you need. I'm a little more overwhelming than Jam was. I think hers was great and succinct. I added a couple other ones just to make sure. And though there are some of these that are paid, there are a lot that have free versions as well. Now, Google Gemini is fantastic, but Google also has some other great tools that if you have a website, you probably want to be keeping an eye on. So Google Analytics 4, or GA4 for short, and Google Search Console will help both give you real-time live analytics from your website. And you can also find out from there what customers found to get to you. So for instance, Google Search Console will show you the exact query the customers used. Like for example, it might be someone searched for weatherproof truck storage instead of aluminum toolbox, even though you have an aluminum toolbox on your website. This can give you some ideas of what other areas your website is being surfaced and how they're finding it. That can tell you the problem that they're trying to solve. And then you can also, like we mentioned, update those product descriptions with that kind of language with the hope that you can show up more often as well. So those are the first two, Google Analytics 4 and Google Search Console. Now, another really helpful thing is to check your traffic sources to see where the discovery is actually starting. So as you have a website, look at how people are getting there. And you can often see, like from social platforms, that'll have a referral link. Or if it's coming from ChatGPT, there's that UTM parameter that'll say UTM equals chatgpt.com. And you can actually even have funnels and campaigns created on your website so that you can track that and see which ones are even being surfaced by AI tools. You might find people are finding you on places you might not have thought originally. So let's say even Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Reddit, YouTube, or even other marketplaces. Those are all places that can help drive awareness and get people to your website. And once you know the true discovery channels, you can really strengthen them with the right content. So all of those are helpful there. And then the last thing on this is using multiple AI tools just to test whether you show up for customer questions. So this is one of the easiest but most overlooked things that I see customers do. Like they might take a question that your customers ask and run it through a couple of these different engines. For reference, I have ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Gemini, and Perplexity. Those are all different AI tools with different strengths, but you can have a question that you know your customers are asking, run it through there, and see what products show up as a result. And even try reverse engineering it. Ask what you can do to get your product page showing up there. See if it can give you a clear roadmap on what to update on your own website. And one of the things I like to think of is use AI like an unpaid intern. It will help you find information, but it doesn't replace the work that you do as a human. But it can also help gather things faster and give you insights so that you don't have to do the digging, like Jam mentioned, that takes months and months and years of research. So using those insights, you can really build a little more information around it. Tools like Google Trends and Answer the Public will also show you all kinds of questions that customers are asking in your space. SEMrush as well. That will help give you a much better idea of what the data looks like and how you can incorporate that on your website and on your marketplace listings too.
Yeah, this is awesome. And I love the idea of kind of reverse engineering it. How did you find me? Or like, what is this question and how can I be found more efficiently? It's just like shows how AI can keep supporting you even after you find out, like, okay, people aren't finding me here. AI tool, can you give me some ideas on how I can be found? So, love how that can be used, and love the idea of using different AI tools to see because like Jam mentioned, they kind of do different things or maybe have different focuses. So seeing how you might rank in different ones is super helpful. Okay, Jam, my next question is for you. So how can businesses make sure their product descriptions, FAQs, or other content show up in these AI generated answers? Because after seeing like your stats that 61% is decreasing in search, we got to know like how do we get on there? And are there specific content strategies that you personally would recommend?
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to answer this question by saying first, because there's a lot of scams out there, there is not a specific tool that you can go buy and get listed by these LLMs. So I just first want to say that. And there's also not a way that I can guarantee that you will get shown in these LLMs also. It is a lot of work, and it all stems from, like I said earlier, growing your digital footprint. And the cool part is AI is here to help us do that in a really easy way. So we need to not do, keyword search queries like we used to. Now we're trying to show up for conversational prompts. So that means we have to create content to answer the questions that people are putting into their prompts. So let me give an example. My friend owns a ceramic studio called Friend Assembly. So, if she's trying to rank in LLMs as a suggested business to go to, she'll need to figure out what people are asking to find her business. And I'm so glad Naomi showed Google Trends in her last slide because that's a great place to find where people are searching. So, just for fun, let's say it's a snowy day here in Denver, and I'm going to search in my chat GPT, what's a good thing to do with my 9-year-old son who loves art on a snowy day? So I'll put that into chat GPT, and it's going to go out and find relevant, recent content that's been created to answer my question. So if Sarah, who owns Friend Assembly, if she had a blog page where it was something like the best art place to bring your kid on a snowy day, something like that, to just answer those types of questions, ChatGPT would have found that and brought it in. So that's just an example of one piece of content that you need to create. And of course, you can use AI to create that content. And here's how I want to explain this digital footprint thing. So say now we're Sarah, and she's creating this blog post to talk about how Friend Assembly is a great place to bring your kids on a snowy day when school's closed. So she's going to create that blog with Claude, let's say, because she loves Claude. So she created the blog with Claude, and now she's going to go to Google, and they have this amazing AI tool called Notebook LM, and she could simply paste in her URL to that blog, and Notebook LM will then create a explainer video, a podcast episode, a infographic, and repurpose the content into another blog for her to post. So this is the way that we can expand that digital footprint really quickly with AI. So that's one thing, is just getting those tools under your belt and making a plan to do that. The other thing I want to talk about is FAQ pages. So AI loves FAQ pages because it's a really quick read for them to get the information that they're looking for. And so another tip would be to go to Gemini or ChatGPT and take that, your services page or whatever page that you have, and throw it into ChatGPT and say, okay, create a FAQ about this page. And then you could put that FAQ, frequently asked questions, on your page. Because then when somebody asks their AI, their Gemini or their ChatGPT a question, it can easily go get that information. Because AI loves relevant and recent information. And it also goes off of the EAT method, EEAT, which stands for expertise, experience, authority, and trustworthiness. So the more content you have with FAQ pages, the more you look like a trustworthy authority on the subject. That was a really long answer, but hopefully you got what you needed.
I love that. And this slide is super helpful. And I don't know if this is another slide that kind of
Ah,
goes
yep.
through it. Sorry.
No, I forgot I had this one, but yeah, that just shows what I was talking about. But yeah. Oh, and actually, there's one other thing in there. That little picture up in the top right is a custom GPT. And so another great way to create content is to create these. And what they are is in ChatGPT, you can create a chatbot that does one thing with that ChatGPT power behind it. So for us, we have one called Club Jam GPT, and I can go in there and ask it to write just a whatever with a really quick prompt, and it knows my tone, what my ICP is searching for, and creates really great content for me to start with. So I'll end it there.
Yes, I love that. And I know that Jam, you've been in a couple of other AI webinars, so we'll make sure that we include if you're wanting to learn a little more about the power behind that or how to get those going, that you guys have the resources for that. Okay, Naomi, my next question is for you. So, as AI changes how people discover and compare products, what can small businesses do to stay competitive across marketplaces like Etsy, especially when larger brands, they have more resources?
Great question. One of the fantastic things about today's day and age with AI is it's helping create more of a level playing field. Again, customer intent really matters, even on those original platforms. So like we mentioned, ChatGPT's partnerships with Shopify and then Etsy as well. And now they're partnering with Walmart too. So even having them able to check out within a chat with Walmart and incorporating that checkout option. So there's opportunities, especially if you're selling on one of those platforms, to really show up a little more prevalently. So for instance, like a Walmart seller, you might show up when shoppers seek something more broadly, like affordable home workout equipment or best toys for toddlers who love building. Like Jam mentioned, it's more situational, and incorporating more of that into your listings can be very helpful. Again, think back to how your customers are looking. What do they want? And what might they be searching to find that? And then you can also optimize your listings for that. But keep in mind the platform that you're on and any regulations that they have. For instance, I know Amazon has a lot of restrictions. Work around that. And then you can also use AI tools to help build those descriptions. But keep the customer intent in mind first and foremost, and that will help drive those. Again, use benefit-driven language that reflects real-time customer intent. So like we mentioned, where people are searching based on situations. It's not just Googling best product. Now they're looking for very specific things. So they prioritize listings that clearly explain who the product is for, what problem it solves, the scenarios it works best for, and then how customers actually use it. And when your listing reflects real customer phrases and real life use cases, AI can more easily identify that your product matches the shopper's intent. So for instance, if you have, let's say, a fan, you can specify where you would use that fan. Is it a ceiling fan? Is it a house fan? Can you use it in an office, in a horse barn? Where might you use that? And incorporating some of those use cases into that, rather than just giving the specs, will really help AI surface that more easily. Another thing small businesses can do, again, using your speed, having that quick turnaround, refresh your listings more often. If anything changes, or let's say you get more feedback from a customer, or they ask a question and you recognize it wasn't reflected in your description originally, incorporate it. You can update faster than many larger brands can, and that can also help people find what you're already posting. AI-based search rewards clarity, recency, and relevance. So all of those are things that small businesses can often deliver more quickly. And another point on this, keep your messaging consistent across all platforms. That doesn't necessarily mean copy paste, but think about if you're promoting, let's say, the battery life on those headphones. Keep consistent with what you're promoting on the other platforms, just because that will help strengthen the brand awareness and the product awareness too. So if your Etsy listing emphasizes one thing, but your Walmart listing focuses on something completely different, that can make it harder for that AI tool to suss out which one is better. So consistent messaging helps AI confidently match your product to a shopper's intent. And then I do have a slide for this last one, but get more descriptive reviews. Even tools like Amazon's Rufus, if you've used Amazon at all, I'm sure you've seen this little tool. It's this little AI feature, and what it can do is it helps summarize product reviews and then even descriptions and common questions, and it allows you to interact with that as well. And you can look at some of these and see the responses, see what questions people have, and help write content that, again, is answering the questions that people are actually asking, and get inside their rings and work on having more descriptive content. And then let's say, for instance, those reviews, they also influence AI. So reviews that include real context or specific details, like let's say that fan worked great for my small apartment. or it's wireless. I took it on a weekend camping trip. All of those help give AI more context. So you can even encourage this by prompting customers to share how they use the product or what problem is solved. And that can also help AI find it easier.
Ooh, I love the idea of taking that back to your customers because, we all love a good review. I'm always looking at the reviews. So asking your customers those questions that we know is going to feed the AI and be more prevalent, such a key tip. Okay, let's see. Jam, my next question is for you. So looking ahead, what do you think the next year or two will look like for small businesses when it comes to AI and online visibility?
Yeah, great question. And I wish I was more of a psychic so I could just peek in and tell you. But, obviously the future is happening now. We're using LLMs for our search, and things are changing pretty rapidly as far as, what we're looking for. And so my big question kind of for the future is what are websites going to look like?
Mhm.
And will we even need them? Are they really just kind of feeding LLMs in the future? And then also the customer journey. So my entire career has been built on finding people throughout the customer journey and giving them the information that they need every step along the way to have them work with you, become a fan of you, continue to interact with you. And so this is really interesting to me because we had it all figured out. We had it figured out with Google, and people would Google the word, they'd go to our site, we'd have a pop-up, we'd get their email, we would, continue to work with them and show them what they needed throughout their experience with us until they became a customer. And so if that goes away and it's more of a somebody searches and gets an answer right from AI, and then they go to your website, are they then a warmer lead? And will it then lead to more of just interaction on your website rather than them reading and making decisions? So I don't know, but I think it's a really interesting thing to think about and also just keep your tabs on because I know a lot of us put a lot of time and energy into our websites and our customer journey funnels, and we just really need to be aware of how AI is changing that. And some of these numbers here on the slide are just proving that even more. So that 2030 projection is ChatGPT traffic is expected to surpass Google traffic. I've actually seen that number lower to like 2027 also. So who knows? And then 80%, 87% of people are more likely to use AI for complex purchases. I just used it to book our spring break, which was a lot of money. But I used AI the entire time. I used Manus to research different locations. I used Gemini to make sure I was getting the best prices. So we're out here using it, and it's that part's not really the future, right? It's more of how are people learning to be smarter with this new technology. And then also, I do want to talk about agentic commerce because that's the future as well, but also something a lot of us are toying with. And just to kind of outline what agentic means. So when we go to an LLM like ChatGPT and put in a prompt, it's answering that question that we asked it specifically. Well, there's agent mode now in ChatGPT, which you may have seen. And there's other tools, like I mentioned, Manus.im, which is an agentic LLM. And basically, what that means is that you tell it what you want, and it'll actually go out and do the thing. And it'll go to different websites. It will interact for you as if it's an assistant. It'll fill out forms, it'll send messages, and it does the work for you. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of that as well. And I'm very interested to see how that will change for small business owners and how we can implement agentic features and interactions on our websites, because I know that's right around the corner for us.
Wow, this number is really these numbers are really they're wild. And to think about, I have plenty of things I wish AI could do for me in terms of making appointments and stuff. I have a list already, but I love what you said about, it's really things are changing so fast, especially when it comes to AI. So it's really about keeping a pulse on what is happening and then reacting to that. Things are just changing so quickly. So I have a final question for Naomi and Jam, but before we get into that, I just want to do a couple of quick reminders. So we are recording this whole session. You will get the recording and you will get the slides if you want to revisit it. And then also we're going to do a brief Q&A. We've had some amazing folks in the chat answering questions, Candace, Blair, and Amber. But we are going to do a live Q&A in just a few minutes. So if you have some questions, please drop those in the chat for us. So Naomi, I want to start with you and then Jam. But if you could give one piece of advice to small business owners preparing for this AI-driven future of e-commerce, what would it be?
If I had to leave small business owners with one thing, it would be this. Keep people at the center of everything you create. AI is getting smarter, but it's still built to understand human intent. It looks at the language your customers use, the problems they're trying to solve, and the real experiences they're sharing. So when your product content reflects that, AI can recognize when your business is the right fit. And I am so glad that Jam brought up agentic AI. That's a huge move that we're expecting to see more even in the coming years. And what that could look like again is that unpaid intern that just was helping you generate AI content with generative AI now is also doing the work. That unpaid intern is going to get you that denim jacket that you wanted, helping bring it back. You still have the final say, and it's acting as an unpaid intern. So it's nothing that I would sign off on immediately, but it can help you gather those materials and act quickly. But something I also remind small business owners of often is that if you're not showing up in traditional search already, you're probably not going to show up in AI driven search either. So the tools that are out there already rely on information that exists. Now, clear product descriptions, strong SEO basics, consistent messaging, and even customer centric wording are the foundation AI models pull from. So again, with small businesses, this is where you have a real advantage. You can update listings faster. You can quickly adapt because again, our search parameters changes every day. We're seeing new updates from these AI products and tools across the board. You guys can do it faster. But the biggest thing I would say is stay curious. Pay attention to the exact language that customers are using. Think about the moment they're shopping for, not just the product that you're selling. So when you create content that clearly reflects who your product is for and why they would choose it, AI can pick up on that. The more you focus on the real human needs and clear communication, the better prepared you'll be for where e-commerce is heading. And AI is there to help, not replace humans. And I think if we keep that in mind, I think we'll all do better in the next years.
Yes, that's so excellent. Maintaining that customer first, client first approach. And then I love what you brought up about, you also have to still think about what it means to rank strong now as things are changing and making those quick shifts. So key. Jam, same question for you. If you could give one piece of advice to small business owners preparing for this AI-driven future of e-commerce, what would it be?
I'm glad Naomi put the customer first and talked about that because my advice is a little bit more selfish. I think it's so important for you to learn something new with AI every day and commit to it. There have been so many advancements over the past couple years, and things are coming out week by week at this point. And so, my piece of advice to you is stay on top of it as much as you can without overwhelming yourself. I know you have an entire business to run and you have a lot on your plate, but it's super important to learn as much as you can about the new tools coming out, the new GEO. There's like just last week, I learned about an entirely new tool that I didn't know was out there called Gamma to help me with presentations. So there's all these things being released, and There's a lot of places to learn. I learn a lot on YouTube. We have a school community called the number one AI community on school.com. It's free. Um, and there's a lot of people just sharing information every day on that. And no matter where you go to learn, do a micro learning every day. So just one little thing, and then practice it as well. Don't get inside your head and say, like, oh, I need an hour and I need to do this before I do this. Just do it, get in there, use the tools. Nobody's looking, just try it and get good at them because you will save so much time and you will save a lot of money on assistance and paying people on Fiverr for quick things that you can do with these AI tools. So hopefully that helps.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so much good information and so many good questions in the chat for you guys and for the folks in the chat. But let me go ahead and jump into some of these Q&A questions because I want to try and fit in as many as possible. So, Naomi, I want to start with you. When you were talking about the Chat GPT merchant form, is this something you would also recommend for people who don't sell a physical product? We have a lot of people in the audience who are service providers or consultants. Is this something that works for them as well?
I think it is one, but they should be able to select it. There's actually a drop down of what your product is. And so some of those can be a great way to surface it. Again, I'd say relying on the content more is going to help. This is just a help, like hopefully a quick boost, but kind of like asking Google to crawl your website. It has that potential, but it's not ever a guarantee. So work on the content first, and that's a secondary one.
Yes, thank you so much. Jam, we have a question from someone who is working on developing AI videos based on a real person with their permission. I know you have a lot of AI tools, so do you have any recommendations for the best AI tools for creating videos, in your opinion?
Yes. So for editing video with real content that you film, I would say CapCut is really great. We're actually there's a CapCut training today that I'm excited to do and learn more about. But CapCut has a bunch of new AI features, so I think that's a great one. If you have long form video content and you're looking to kind of chop that up into postable pieces, I would say Opus Clip is a great one for that. And then if you want to create an AI avatar of yourself and create videos from that, there's something called Hey Gen, and that's a really fun platform to create videos. And you actually don't have to use yourself either. You can upload other people or use the avatars that they have in the system. So those are three pretty cool AI video tools to check out.
Yes. Okay, so it was Opus, CapCut, and
Hey Gen.
Hey Jen. Okay, got it. Thank you. And then another question, I'm going to kick it to Jam, but Naomi, please feel free to jump in as well. When crafting content for these better AI search results, does it matter which LLM that small businesses are crafting content for? For example, should content be catered differently if I'm using ChatGPT versus Gemini versus Claude?
That's a great question. And like 6 months ago, I would have said yes, but they've all caught up with each other so much at this point. It really just is where are you most comfortable creating content and what have you trained the best on your business? So, of course, I like to make my life really difficult. And so I like to have all of them. I use Claude for my email newsletters and blogs. I use ChatGPT to help me come up with content for more of the community I'm a part of, the education community, more interactivity type content for social media. And then I use Gemini for citing sources. And so educational content, supporting content in my learning management system. So it's really just where are you comfortable creating the content and where have you found that it does the best job and is trained the best for your business?
Absolutely. Uh, Naomi, anything to add on content for different platforms?
I love that. I think the biggest thing is it's gonna, again, it's based on individual use. So what they're finding, how they're using it, and how well their LLM is trained based on their needs. So if someone uses Gemini all the time, that's probably what they're going to be using to surface your content. So I say, again, kind of like Jam said, use all the things, test them, see what works best, but understand the individual use and their behavior is going to matter significantly more than just the platform and the LLM they're using.
Such a great point. Like, what are they doing? What are they searching for? Like, really understanding your customer. Okay, Jam, this next question. I know we just talked about how websites might not even be something in the future, which is kind of blowing my mind a little bit. But when thinking about websites, should every image on a site have a phrase or offer information to help AI understand it more? What are your thoughts on that?
Should the image have a caption? Is that kind of the
Yeah,
question?
it says yes, like a phrase or offer information.
Hmm.
That's what they have listed here.
So, standard SEO practice that still holds very true today is having an alt image tag. So,
Mm.
whatever it says on the front end, you have to make sure that that image on the back end has an image tag associated with it. So that's telling the LLM what the image is. So that's important. As far as what's on the front end, I am a big design snob in general. And so I just want to make sure that whatever you're creating with AI, if it's an image-based type content creation, um, make sure it's on brand. And I want to give one other tool idea for this. It's called Pomeli. I'll send it to the panelists here. It's a Google tool where you enter your website and it actually spits out your entire brand identity. They call it the brand DNA. And then you can take that and create content with it. So it's like such a great tool. And I highly suggest people use that when creating images for their websites.
Yes. Okay. And what was the tool called again? We're gonna find it.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just
you got
texted it to you guys. Yeah, Pomeli.
it. Melly.
And it's a
Thank
free
you.
tool by Google.
Oh my gosh. I really thank you so much. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so we're getting close to the end of our time, but there's one question that just came in that I think is important. So if we're all using LLMs to create content or do SEO work, does organic content, does that even matter in an AI world? I think this is like a question that is floating around for a lot of people, and I would love both of your opinions, Naomi and then Jam.
I love that because I think right now we're also in that beginning of the AI era where we're getting a lot of AI slop. We've all seen it. We're probably all tired of the buzzwords. You probably get 15 emails a day with AI at least somewhere in it. But what that comes back to is the SEO side, the EEAT criteria that Jam mentioned. Those are all helpful things to keep in mind. So expertise, experience, authority, and trustworthiness are all still going to be relevant. And right now, you can use AI tools to help write content, but ideally, you're not using it to replace the experience that you have. So, especially if you have a product or service that you're selling, rewrite it or tweak it to incorporate why you're doing what you're doing. Add your own flair and own touch. Because again, we're seeing more and more bland AI content out there. And I think it's watering down a lot of what we have. So that's
Mhm.
what's where it's helpful. Add your own flavor, add your own spice. You can use it to help do a lot of the work, but don't forget the seasoning that makes your service and product special.
Oh, I love that. Jam, anything to add?
Yeah, that was great. I just want to also make sure everybody knows this that even if we're all using LLMs and putting in even the same prompt, we're all getting different answers back. That's
Mm.
something people ask quite a bit is like if we're all creating, if we're all using ChatGPT to create content about the new Fry boots, won't we all say the same thing on our websites? And no, you're always going to be creating organic content. It's going to be new content for you. And you have to train your AI. And so there's something that we do called LLM training. I rebranded it last week as the AI Business Manifesto. And it's this amazing thing where you have a document created that goes with your prompt. So you're not creating that AI slop, as Naomi said. That can be so common. And so this is one way to get around that is by training that LLM every time you enter a prompt with your AI business manifesto. So whatever you call it, train it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for going over time to answer that question because I feel like it was very relevant. AI is one of those things, I mean, we could have another 6 hour conversation about, but unfortunately, we are over time. I really want to thank Naomi Roszhart and Jam Anderson for sharing their time and expertise with us. And thank you to everyone who joined this seminar because we know time is the most valuable resource and you took time out of your day. We hope you got something valuable. We will follow up with relevant resources and everything. And we also want to thank FedEx, our partners, and for bringing such relevant, important content to the small business community. If you have a few minutes, don't forget to take that quick survey, and we will see you all in the next one. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.